Please make sure that you take out a piece of loose leaf paper if you are choosing not to print out these notes. Today we're going to talk about functions and their inverses. The reason we saved that for this unit is because it does have to deal with solving equations. So we don't do it in our function unit all the time. Now an inverse is basically the function of a reflection over the line y equals x. So if you look at a piece of graph paper, the line y equals x is this line right here, that perfect diagonal. And the inverse is just when we reflect something from over here, if we have some kind of a function, and we reflect it over there. To find the inverse of a function, you're going to be given a function, which we know is called f of x. The first thing that we're going to do is make the f of x a y. The second thing we're going to do is interchange the x and the y. And the third thing we're going to do is then solve for y. That will give us our inverse. Sometimes it is notated as f of x to the -1 power. That means inverse. So if we look at the first example, step 1 says take the f of x and make it a y. So if I want to find the inverse of this equation, the first thing I'm going to do is interchange the x and the y. So I'm going to make the y an x, and I'm going to make the x a y. I'm going to then copy down the rest of the problem. Now I want to solve for y, so I want the y by itself. The first thing I'm going to do is add 15 to both sides. I cannot combine an x and a 15, so I write it as x plus 15 equals 5y. Again, I want the y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I get x plus 15 over 5 equals y. That is the inverse of the original problem. The only thing that could make this different, sometimes if it's a multiple choice question, it could be split, and x divided by 5 we write as x over 5, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So technically, this could also be the inverse. These two bottom lines mean the same exact thing. Those are both the inverse of the original. Okay, if I look at the second example, follow the steps. First thing, take the f of x and make it a y. The second thing, make the y an x and the x a y, and copy down the rest of the problem. Third step, solve for y. I'm going to minus 12. I have x minus 12 equals 1/2 y. Now here it's a little tricky. I know you guys love to divide, so we would divide both sides by 1/2. So in your calculator, 1 divided by 1/2 is 2. So I have 2x. 12 divided by 1/2 is 24. And this is my inverse. For those of you that are stronger with your algebra skills, instead of dividing by 1/2 here, I could have multiplied by the reciprocal, so I could have times this equation by 2, and I get the same exact answer. This is my answer. Next one, again, first step, change that f of x and make it a y. Second step, flip the x and the y's. That's 2y squared over 8 plus 5 over 8. Third thing, we want to get the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5/8, subtract 5/8 from each side. I get x minus 5/8 equals 2/8 y squared. Now again, it comes with fractions. So to get the y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 2/8, divide this by 2/8, and if I do that, I'm going to end up with 4x minus 5/2 equals y squared. And then if you remember, to get rid of a squared, we square root. So my inverse here is the square root of 4x minus 5/2 equals y. And that is my inverse. And the last one, again, the first thing that we're going to do is make the f of x a y. The second thing we're going to do is interchange the x and the y values. Here I have a fraction, so I'm going to make this a fraction. If I cross multiply, I get 4x equals 3y minus 2. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get 4x plus 2 equals 3y. To get the y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and I get 4/3 x plus 2/3 equals y, and that's a very bad 4. Sorry about that. Or if you wanted to leave it as one giant fraction, you could write 4x plus 2 over 3 equals y. Okay, both answers, this one and this one, mean the exact same thing. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure you write them down and either email me or ask me next time you see me in class.